Now think back to games that stunned you when you was younger with one simple reveal. Did some of these plot twists make you rethink everything, blow your mind, or did it leave you confused, totally frustrated? In storytelling, a single plot twist can turn a good story into a classic story, or mess up everything that you experienced for however long the story was. In today's video, we're going to focus on plot twists in gaming. So we're going to talk about some of the best, some of the worst, some of the smartest ones in gaming throughout the years of gaming. Plot twists give storytelling some type of superpower. When done right, they deepen characters, increases suspense of the viewer, and give your journey a reason to replay the game with fresh set of eyes. But when a twist is clumsy or poorly executed or just thrown in for shock, it can undo the story completely. Now let's start talking about some of the plot twists. Of course, we're going to start talking about some of the better ones, right? Because these plot twists change gaming forever. Oh, and by the way, it's spoilers for some of these games, even though a lot of these games are older. But it's a spoiler warning for these games that are scrolling down your screen now. So let's get started. First example I want to talk about is Bioshock, Would You Kindly. The protagonist, Jack, is guided through Rapture by Atlas, who repeatedly asks favors using the phrase, "Would you kindly?" And it's not until late in the game that it's revealed to you that "Would you kindly" is a form of mind control.
Man, I got mind control over Debo.
Jack has been brainwashed to obey and command the "would you kindly" word whenever it is said to him. You don't really think about it as some kind of mind control thingy until at that very moment. How does this affect the story? Well, it completely upends the player's sense of free will, both for Jack and the player. Until now, players thought they were making choices, but they kind of really wasn't. It was kind of like a mind control. And narratively, the twist reframes early events and exposes Andrew Ryan's philosophy on mind control, individual, and the illusion of freedom. It exposes manipulation, player obedience to game instruction, and ethical philosophy. Forces players to question narrative mechanic in their own free will. Now, if that's not a plot twist that affected many people, I don't know what. Now, would you kindly hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video? Would you kindly? On to the next one. Case, the original one. Isaac navigates the Snoork ship while receiving messages and visions from his girlfriend Nicole, who he believes is alive and somewhere on the ship endangered. But Nicole is revealed to have died before Isaac even came to the ship. All the interactions that Isaac sees is hallucination from the trauma that Isaac has been through and the marker's influence. How does this impact the story? Well, it rewrites player understanding of every previous encounter between Isaac and Nicole and Isaac's actual motive for wanting to do this. Unreliable perception, survivor's guilt, and psychological horror are all themes of this plot twist. It deepens the tragedy and loneliness that Isaac experiences, giving extra reason to his struggles in the game's horror element. Because it is a scary game, probably for kids though, but there's a few jump scares in there, I will be honest. Another good example of plot twist in game is Call of Duty Black Ops. In the story, Alex Mason is hunted by numbers in his mind and accompanied by Victor Reznov, an ally throughout the mission to stop a global threat, possibly another war going on. But this Reznov is not even a real person. He's a hallucination. Mason was brainwashed to assassinate certain targets. The campaign with Reznov never actually happened as the player remembers. That's kind of insane to do all of this because of hallucination. And this changes how players interpret Mason's acts, trying in real-world fears of mind control and psychological warfare. Retroactively, this reduces Mason's agency, showing he was just some pawn and not some big bad wolf. and because of this plot twist, you can see trauma because of war. So imagine what some trauma that the veterans that fought in World War One and Two went through. Scary thing. And this is just a video game. Now, Silent Hill 2. James, he's kind of have a guilty conscience. James comes to Silent Hill after he receives a letter from his dead wife. Throughout the whole town, he chased by some monsters that you don't want to be chased by. Now, thinking about it, James killed his wife his damn self, so I don't know why he thought he got some type of letter. And the monsters and hoods of Silent Hill are just his guilt. I know you're wondering, thinking to yourself, how does this impact the story? Well, it transformed the journey from a search and rescue out of love into a quest of alonement and self-acceptance, because James got to live with the actions that he caused. And it transforms empathy into shock and dread, revealing James as both a victim and perpetrator. Even with all the psychological horrors, consequences of James' actions, Knights of the Old Republic. The player creates a nameless Jedi suffering from amnesia, hunting the villainous Revan. Even though the Jedi you created is Raven, who is a feared Sith Lord, whose mind was erased. Every choice you made was shaping the fall of Raven or the redemption of it. Some dope shit when you think about it. Because of the plot twist, it redefined the character relationships, trusted allies, in your role, galactic events forever. This makes players reckon with the choices they made, blending their own legacy with Raven's legacy, or destroying it all, or making it better. Because its power of redemption, dynasty, and free will is some good plot twist that not many games has. The Last of Us, another great game with an amazing story. Joel and Ellie struggle across the devastated America, seeking the Fireflies who claim they can create a cure for the infection with the help of Ellie. Now, the cure would kill Ellie, and Joel, he doesn't like that idea, and he basically kills all the doctors that was in the facility and lies to Ellie about what happened, and he basically leave. In another spoiler, in 2 you see why he got packed up, and he saved someone who wasn't even his daughter. His daughter died in the prologue. So why is he doing all this for someone that's not his daughter? Well, who the fuck knows? Now, how does this impact the story? It turns the conventional hero journey into something of a selfish journey and forces a player to either deal with Joe and his actions or just say whatever. Back after the line. Now, I know this gets talked about a lot, but you play as Captain Walker, who leads a squad in Dubai to confront war crimes and rescue survivors, believing he's the hero. But it turns out Walker, he's the war criminal, as he's the one who basically set off everything. And the main guy you're after, Colonel Conrad, he's dead the whole time. So I guess the guy Captain Walker was after was really himself. Now this plot twist shatters the perceptions of war, being a hero, and confronts the player consequences of their fun, transforming it into guilt. Because Walker is the reason most of the stuff that happened in the game happens. Wow. Red Dead Redemption, the original one. John Marston's fate. Now, John Marston is a government official who's tasked with hunting down the gang that he used to run with back in the day. And that gang it was a crazy bunch, as you see throughout the events of Red Dead Redemption 2. And at the end of Red Dead 2, you play as John Marston in the epilogue, and then it'll basically start Red Dead Redemption. But at the end of 1, after John kills all of his old gang, the government comes after him and kills him. This is one of the saddest deaths in gaming, because no one thought it would happen at the time, and it's sad. R.I.P. John Marston, R.I.P. Arthur Morgan too. Damn. Because of this, symbolize end of an outlaw era and the cruelty of a civil world, because no world is truly civil. Now, this can cause a heartbreak. Like I said earlier, it's one of the saddest deaths in gaming, and it cements the legacy of John Marston. And in the epilogue, you play as Jack. So betrayal is something you don't really see. You will see done in a lot of games, but this is one of the few occasions that's actually good. So that's just a few examples of the good plot twists in gaming, and most of these plot twists provide more than shock value. Each one respectively challenges the player's assumptions about the story in itself and infuses the narrative with depth, emotion, and critical thinking. There are landmark moments both for their respective stories and narrative design in game as a medium. Good ones, the clues are scattered throughout. The twist isn't out of nowhere. Some of them will have flashbacks of the said events that's going on. Dialogue, symbols, strange behaviors are all there throughout most of these that the developers and storyteller left for the players to realize. The twist fits with the logic and tone of the world, and when it explodes, it changes how you see every moment up to that point and every moment after. Done talking about the good ones, we sadly gotta talk about the bad ones. Not all plot twists are good. Some plot twists are infamous for breaking the narrative, introducing potholes, or just making no sense whatsoever. And let's get started with some of these examples. One of the first examples of a bad plot twist is Heavy Rain. Scott Selby as a origami killer. Scott is a playable protagonist and seemingly a private detective trying to solve the case of the origami killer. But the whole time, he's the killer in itself. Now, why this plot twist is so bad? Because it's a major contradiction. The twist forces prior scenes to appear manipulative, with Shelby acting against himself, like destroying evidence, protecting witnesses in ways that don't even make sense after it's revealed that he's the origami killer. Instead of a clever subversion, players often feel betrayed as the game withholds changes crucial information to maintain a twist, undermining the narrative. Bionic Commando also has a bad plot twist. The protagonist is looking for his wife, and the key to the abilities is his arm. Now, his arm is his wife, but how, you may ask? Well, because the consciousness, essence, whatever you want to call it, of his wife, who's dead by the way, they stored it in the arm. Now, because of this horrible plot twist, players felt mocked due to bizarre and bullshit nature. It detracts from the emotional stakes and tone, making the story feel outlandish rather than moving or impactful. It feels so abrupt that it overshadows other character development and derails much of the conclusion of the game. Don't make your wife a fucking arm, bitch. Detroit become human. Yes, Alex is a human child whom Clara as an android tries to protect and will do anything for, but Alex is also an android. The emotional stakes for protecting a vulnerable child are completely subverted when you find out that Alice is an android. Many players felt the twist was so in, creating unnecessary complexities and weakening emotional investments. It was intended to explore what it means to be human, but this plot twist just undermined that entirely. Metal Gear Solid 2. Raiden replaces Snake. Players expected to control Solid Snake. After the prologue, Snake is sidelined and Raiden, an unproven character, becomes Snake. Many felt alienated as there was no hint Snake would not be the lead. Twist intentionally subverts player expectation and explores the theme of myth versus reality, but wasn't signpost well enough for fans, and they hated it. This connection overshadowed the meta-narrative commentary. Bioshock, if Booker is Comstack. You play as Booker DeWitt, who is hunting Comstack. The game's intact. But Comstack is Booker is Comstack on a multiverses type shit. Because it's an alternate universe Booker who is Comstack. Narrative becomes complicated with multiple universes and timelines that dualities. So many timelines in the universe that dilutes the emotional impact players couldn't understand. The Last Guardian, more than one Trico. Marketed as the story of the last Titan, a mythical creature named as Trico, but the player encounters multiple Trico characters. So is it really the last one? Reveal of other Tricos diminishes the name itself, The Last Guardian. This led to disappointment over the eroded sense of a unique bond and resolution. It also removes the notion of singularity, lessening the story impact. Assassin's Creed 3, Desmond ending. They killed my boy Desmond, man. R.I.P. to Desmond. You was a real one. Why did they do this, man? Now, Desmond, he's the modern protagonist of Assassin's Creed throughout the first 5 games. He's a very likable character, but towards the end of 3, they killed him off because he had to sacrifice himself for why? Who? I don't know, man. They didn't have to do this. Why did they kill Desmond? Was the voice actor too much, man? We miss you, Desmond Miles, dog. You had to go. But back on topic, because of the killing of Desmond, many felt that the ending was rushed and years of build-up, ignoring previous themes of destiny and choice. Mass Effect 3, the ending. The complete ending of Mass Effect 3. Now, I got a video about Mass Effect 1 and 2. I haven't started working on a Mass Effect 3 video because I still haven't played it, but I know the ending, and let's focus on the Starksound ending in particular. Players make countless choices that were supposed to shape the galaxy's fate throughout the entirety of the first Mass Effect and second and even the third. In the finale of the Starksound, 3 choices regardless of all prior decisions. The vast Brunson storyline collapsed into 3 visually similar endings, making players feel everything they did throughout the entire story useless. It left fans angry, led to public apologies and a revised ending. Many felt betrayed after years of player-driven storytelling with the first 2 games, even the third. But hey, like I said, those videos, I got 2 of them. 3, I don't know if I'm even gonna work on them because I'm be honest, last 2, the views was ass. Moving on. Resident Evil 6, multiple unnecessary twists. Now, Resident Evil 6 features several characters, intersecting storylines, and villains. Plenty of fake deaths, characters returning, and the confusing villain reveals. The players just feel done. They feel emotionally uninvested in any type of end of this game because it was too many surprises. Can't surprise us this many times and think the game will come out good. The twist dilutes suspense and gravitates, making the story feel bloated. Fans criticize for putting Psych above coherence, impacting the series' reputation. Even though they made up with it with 7. Because 7 was like in Village and 8 are good. Even the remakes of 1, 2, 3, and 4 are good. I don't know if they're going to remake 5 or 6. No, I believe they're working on a 9. I don't know, man. There's so many Resident Evils. Well, now, we're at the end of all these games. The good plot twists and the bad. Now, why are these bad twists so problematic? In each case, the twist either undermines the development of the characters or undermines the emotional investment or just don't make sense for the story. Rather than enriching the story, these twists contradict what players are shown or told throughout the game, making the narrative feel when they complicate character relationship and personal journey. Shift focus away from prior-driven consequences to sift away prior player-driven consequences just for socks or because of a rapid end. It even adds confusion, frustrates players, or even ridicule rather than genuine surprise or emotional engagement. Plot twists must be earned, resonate with players, the character itself, and the theme and narrative of the story to truly affect the plot twist and make a good one, like we discussed with the earlier examples. Now, in the comments, let me know some of the plot twists that blew your mind, the ones that were a great story. Let's talk about the ones
Another
moments in
malfunction?
game.
No.
Don't forget to like,
The quarantine
comment, and
systems are all
subscribe.
fine.
Thank you guys for watching. I'm out. Peace.
Wait,